Welcome to level 4 of our Kumne in-depth training. As you noticed, we have a rather scholarly approach in the sense that we want you to study, we want you to read, we want you to practice. So we're not only giving you guided practices, but more like you going into the books, you're going into the text, you're trying to put things together and rereading sometimes the same pages over and over again. And we find that every time you discover something new. So in level 3, we focused on the inner Kumne. When we talk about inner Kumne, it is like your inner landscape. It's not like when you open your eyes and you see mountains and trees and houses and lakes. It's not like when you look inside, you see organs and bloodstreams and all of that. It's not like that, but having a sense of your inner environment is actually you will get a sense of space. So the more your senses work inward as well, the more sense of space you have. So that is your inner landscape. And the way that you can test it is over time, do you feel that your experience is getting richer? So we don't measure necessarily by happiness or sadness, although happiness will definitely be an indication that there's some balance. But in general, is your experience getting richer? If it is, it's because your inner space, your inner environment is more in depth. It's vaster. So we go from the surface of your experience to making it deeper, to making it wider. And that's actually something that we all long for, because maybe you have had moments when you suddenly felt more depth in your experience, that you had a tear in your eye or you felt something deeply relaxing. You say, yeah, I would like to be like this. That's because your inner space is expanding, is deepening. And that's what we do in level 3. We do the inner space, the inner Kumne. We awaken the flow of feelings and sensations. And sometimes people think, well, am I supposed to experience something specific? Yes, you're supposed to experience sensations, because that means you are relaxing. The inner world is beginning to open up. But feelings is different. Some people feel it as spaces, as if there's an area in the body that suddenly opens up. I don't know if you like that word, or becomes part of your experience. So it is not something that you can measure the same way that you have externally with sensations and feelings. It's an inner experience. If you progress in Kumne, your inner experience of sensations and feelings becomes more and more an experience of space. So that eventually there is not much sensations and feelings left, but more like expanding and deepening spaces. So inner Kumne is to awaken or create or develop the inner space, the inner environment. The benefit of that is that the inner architecture that determines the flow of energy throughout your body, throughout your senses, that inner architecture is very sophisticated. I don't know if anyone can see it with the naked eye. It's not like your aura or something. But if your inner space develops, the inner architecture improves. It is as if you have more roads, more highways, more freeways, more secondary roads, more open squares, more easy crossings. There's not blockages everywhere. So the more blockages you have, the less space you have, the harder for your inner architecture to do its work. Level 3, focus on the inner architecture. As you're developing your inner environment, you feel more space, and your inner architecture becomes more proficient. And as a result of that, your physical breath shifts to a more internal, subtle breath. That's the indication that your inner environment is open up. And that's a very powerful healing agent, the subtle inner breath. So that's level 3. Now level 4 is actually quite sophisticated in the sense that we're going to work not only with the inner environment to create the space and to open it up, but we're actually going to work with what's going on there. So there are sensations and feelings and the subtle breath and awareness. It's like a couple of components that together determine the flavor and the knowing that comes when the inner environment is opening up. Now in Kumne we have a very unique way of doing that. So in level 4 we're going to develop the cream of Kumne. That's how we call it. It's how Tartantuku describes it in the opening pages of Kumne, the Tibetan yoga book. So what we're going to do now is to actually, you might say, manipulate or place our intent to work with the sensations and feelings. In level 3, we merge the breath and the sensation. In level 4, we're going to expand them and this is the beauty, we're going to accumulate them. What is it that we accumulate? It's not just a bunch of energy that we're putting up a dam somewhere and we're trying to get more and more energy. No, we're doing actually something very precise and, I'm sorry to say it again, very sophisticated. And that is relaxation in the Kumne terminology, which means coming to life. It has one primary characteristic beside that it is flowing. And that is the feeling have a joyful component to it. Now joyful is not like ha ha ha, like when you maybe hear a joke that you really enjoy. It's not that. It might be more like a flickering or a light or something fluttering, something opening, something that the word joyful might cover, but it is not joyful maybe as we use it in daily life. So something awakening, something flickering or fluttering. That joyful feeling, that's really the cream of Kumne. That's what we want to discover, we want to expand it, and we want to accumulate it. Now we're really doing Kumne. That's really wonderful work. My experience is that you don't need to know exactly all the time if that's what you're doing, but if you understand it, if it is your intent, and 3 is if while you're doing it, if you're trying to look for the components of that, it will come. My experience is that when people do Kumne for a while afterwards, they feel very joyful and often very giddy. That is the joy that comes with the flow of relaxation. So relaxation in Kumne means what is held starts to melt. What is held starts to flow. But that's only one step. What we're doing in this level is, can we taste what that flow really is made up of? The taste of that. And that is a joyful feeling. That we try to not only get a relationship with, but have contact with, accumulate. That's what we do in level 4. If you come along, it will gradually happen. And the way you can tell is you feel lighter, you feel more vivacious, and it's important that you ascribe the merit of that to your Kumne practice, not because of something external that happened. If your energy flows, you feel lighter. It is easier to feel a little bit giddy, a little bit more excited. And the inner Kumne in the 3rd level, now in the 4th level, we start to actually perfect the inner essence of feeling. So good luck. If you have any questions, give us a call or email us. We're happy to try to share our experience and communicate about yours.